welcome into another episode of The Dork Side of the Ring. I am your host, your purveyor of all things dorky within the scope of professional wrestling and sports entertainment. I am Grum. Hello. It is good to see you. Good to have you. Welcome in. Episode 56. Yeah, 56. You would think I would know the numbers. Here's the thing. Okay. When I do these pre-recording things, I do it in my car. You know that. Hence the different quality microphone, all that jazz and such. But I also do it like I work outside. I don't have the internet, right? So I don't bring the stuff up on my phone nearly as much as I should. And really what this is just me buying time for me to get the proper information about what number episode this is. But yeah, it is 56. There you go. See, I knew it. I knew it. I knew it in my bones. Episode 56. Glad to have you. Welcome in. Yeah. Do I have any programming stuff? No, I don't have any programming things to note. Fun episode today. Myself and first-time guests, plural, Inza and Momo come on. Good times. Fun episode. We talked about that. We're talking about the Eddie Guerrero, John Cena, Latino Heat Parking Lot Brawl from September 11th, 2003 on Smackdown. It was a good one. Good one. I guess, this comes out on the 25th. So we're going to be watching SummerSlam in my Discord this coming weekend, this Saturday, July 30th. Grum.tv is how you get there, and you can watch us. Also, I'm going to be putting out, so if you're not, also, you should join Grum.tv because it's a community Discord and whatnot. I am looking for input and such on, I guess, kind of the direction, I know what kind of directions I want to go in, but I want to see if there's interest before I do them. But I got a survey that is available at Grum.tv in the community updates. I'd appreciate it if you could go do a little lissy-loo and all that stuff and whatnot, and give me a hand with that. I appreciate that. I've talked about the kind of content that I'm thinking about doing in the near future, but I want to do not like educational. I want to just be, maybe explanatory is probably the best word for it, is I want to explain wrestling how I see it in a manner of which, like, a non-wrestling fan could, who is interested or has wrestling fans and is trying to understand, because wrestling is a very weird thing. Some people are like, well, why don't you just, I don't get it. It's all, fake, or, it's not real. They're not really fighting, blah, 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 blah. Oh, And on the flip side, like, even the people who know it's not, they're not invested in the stories because the stories are forever going on. So it is hard to explain wrestling in the moment, right? That's why you got to go back in time and do that. That's what we do here, and I try to do. And I think I do a pretty good job of, and people enjoy, you got to pick a story and, like, tell it, but you have to do it in you have to pick a story that's a good story, that's an entertaining story, but also a story that isn't too fucking long, all right? I said this the other day, I tweeted this from the account, short-term booking greater than long-term aimless booking, and a lot of things, if you don't, like with wrestling, if you're listening to this and you're a wrestling fan, you know exactly what I mean. 6, 12, 18-month long, stories and feuds that don't go anywhere, that don't have the ups and downs, or aren't part of, or don't have smaller stories that make it up, right? Like you look at it like a standard television series, right? You have 23 episodes. You have an overarching story. Good guy, bad guy, big brawl, whatever. And then you have these little stories in between that get you along the way that play into the overall theme of the story you want to tell. I literally just got done watching the season 8 of The Flash. I'm just invested. It wasn't good, but it was clear that they were writing a show for it to be the final season, and then they got the green light on another one. So they kind of like threw it together at the end and whatnot. And everybody's like, kind of don't want to be a part of it in the future. What It's 8 years. It is what it is. And I think there was like 3 or 4 different little like mini arcs that they somehow found a way to build into the large one, and it like worked, but also it just felt disconjointed. And wrestling can be like that, especially when it's literally just 2 guys arguing over ego stuff, right? I'm better than you, or I know you beat me, but you got lucky type stuff. The best long-term stories in the last, I don't know, couple years, Kenny Omega, Adam Page was a great, very long journey. It was over a year. If you just look at it from the story of Adam Page, it's damn near 3 years, and it was good. It was good. It plays it. There's a lot of things that go into that story, but long-term story that does not have a point, much like long-time ranting that does not have a point, is not entertaining. You want the short-term stuff. At the very least, it's short. It's over. We keep it going. Much like my content should be in the future. I'm working on making sure that episodes stay under 2 hours, because then this way I can do some of these longer ones. But this is why I want to do these like videos, is that I have these ideas and I write them down, and I'm like, okay, yeah, we'll talk about that at the beginning of the pod or at the end of the pod. And it's now 7 minutes of an intro. But yeah, that's why I'll be on the lookout. Also, we have a YouTube now, Dork Side of the Ring. It was on YouTube. It's I believe it's Scott Steiner, the picture from Lady Outlier of Scott Steiner. And yeah, so that's that. Videos will come out soon. I don't know what per se I'm going to be doing just yet, but we're going to work on that. Anyways, myself, Momo, Inza, on the first time, having them on for the first time, it is great. It is a fun episode, and we literally just recorded it last week. It's good. It's timely, because I think we talked about the heat. And yeah, so what is it? Oh, Eddie Guerrero, John Cena, parking lot brawl, September 11th, 2003, Smackdown. It's a good one. Myself, Momo, Inza, here on the Dork Side of the Ring podcast. Bear was telling me last night, like, what the temperature is going to be for them, and like, I was like, wait, so they're like, it's like 30 degrees, and I'm like, hold on, carry the 2, yeah, okay, that's hot, and then like apparently it get up to like 40 or 36, I think, and I'm like, yeah, it's about dear Lord,
it's insane.
But yeah, there's a good chance we're gonna go over 100 Fahrenheit on Monday and Tuesday. So,
which is great, because it's not like my room is always 5 degrees hotter than outside.
Mm-hmm. Right? It's not like your countries have never, in the history of their existing and building things, never, never had to plan for 100-degree weather in Fahrenheit.
No.
So, in fact, they had to prepare for, absolute zero, damn near, and like build everything close together.
Brick houses close together.
Yeah. So that's brutal, man. Like,
it's fine. We don't know air conditioning either. It's not
no, we don't know. Yeah, last year in the summer, I was spending 2 weeks with my now ex, still a friend, who's Swedish, and her house is also stone, but it's so thick. The walls are so thick that the heat doesn't fully permeate before the day is over.
Yeah.
Oh wow!
So you just get to enjoy 25 Celsius for the entire day.
A friend of mine lives in a house with 1 meter thick walls, so that's like 3 foot.
Good Lord! I can't imagine that, but also like, man, we'll have a power outage because of it. It's too hot. Like that, like the houses are fine, but like our power grids are set up to endure like the bitter cold, And then once you go like, hey, it's going to be 110 degrees, bright sun, and oppressive humidity. And you're like, wait, that's not supposed to be how it's supposed to be in Pennsylvania. You know, like it's supposed to be humid, but not like oppressively humid and not oppressively hot. But yeah, no. And then like, you know, like our mutual friend Glory, Jenna, winters are brutal in Texas now because they get like an inch of snow and their infrastructure is not set up to take below freezing. So like pipes freeze.
But monopolies aren't a bad thing, right?
No, never. No. It's always trusting one entity.
Like it was fine that like 90% of Canada couldn't call 911. That was fine.
No, that's fine. Yeah.
It's only Rogers that had an outage.
All things being controlled by one or two entities are perfectly fine. Nothing wrong.
Yeah. Never went wrong ever.
I'm glad we got this slandering of capitalism in early. This is always good. That's good. You know, I was like,
I don't know if we want to go here, but we
will go. We'll go there. But you know, it's always fun to see how long into an episode I can go without being like, yeah, no, but hey, man, everything's set up the way it's supposed to by capitalism. So
Drum started call 7 minutes ago.
I've been recording for 3 minutes, and it took exactly 3 minutes to get to this.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't have expected anything different. We're here on the dark side of the ring. First time guests. It's rare and getting further away from being able to say that. As I get people, but I've been able to narrow down two of my favorite Europeans of the European Union because the Brits don't count anymore. They're not European; they're just British. They left. They're not European anymore.
They left the continent.
Yeah, they're no longer. They said screw geography. So we got
started rowing.
We gotta go. We gotta get out of here. We gotta get next to Greenland so then we can be independent like them because Greenland's not North America or Europe. Isn't
Greenland part of Denmark?
I honestly don't know. I think Greenland technically is like part of North America, but it's like far enough away that you know you don't see it when you do the whole like map of the continent. You just get like Canada, America, Mexico, and Central America, and then like. But Greenland's just there. Who knows who it belongs to?
Yeah, it's on the North American continent.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's an autonomous Danish-dependent territory. So Denmark has it's a colony, is what I'm hearing.
Yeah, well, you know, thanks to Mighty Ducks.
I mean, what isn't?
This is true. Thanks to Mighty Ducks, I know that Greenland is ice, Iceland is green. Shout out.
Do you know why too?
No.
So the guy that was that initially discovered Iceland, like he came there and there was an icy part. He was there and he didn't want people to come there because it was such a terrible place. So he called it Iceland. Greenland was the opposite. Some guy came there and it looked terrible because it's all fucking ice. He's like, okay, but I want to start a colony here. I want people to move here. So he called it Greenland to make it more attractive so people would actually move there. So the idea was basically the same. They both lied. Just the reason why was a bit different.
This is such a dickheaded thing to do. Like, yo, this place fucking sucks, but you know what? I got it. Expansion. If I create a colony here, I'll run it. I'll have power. And it's like, buddy, you'll have power over 10 feet of green land and then 4,000 square footage of ice, my guy. Like, is it really worth it? Because, like, I was told, and obviously I didn't, source check this, but the American education system taught me, it was like, Greenland was green because when it was discovered, they saw the green. They didn't see the ice that was behind the green. And Iceland, it was the opposite, where they, akin to where, you told me, Inza, was the people who discovered it saw the ice and was like, oh, this is Iceland. Meanwhile, like, behind all that like, just round spot, it's just beautiful scenery and whatnot. Iceland's, like, one of the like, places on my to-go places. Whenever,
it's really nice,
whenever airport and airlines aren't, hassle. Go ahead, Momo.
Oh, I wanted to say, I bet that the people who discovered Iceland then discovered Iceland about 17 times over on the way there. I've discovered Newland. No, that's just
no, that's just an
iceberg.
No. You guys see that video of the iceberg melting in front? So this guy was like below the level, I guess, or down a little bit, and it melts, and it just causes like a sort of avalanche because it's melted. It's a melted iceberg, and he's just like watching it, and he's like, "Uh-oh." Like it got to the point, like there was he was like, oh, this is so cool. He's like, video, and then it just keeps coming, and he's like, oh no, I gotta get, and then he gets behind a rock and then it stops recording, and I was just like, my guy, I would have started, I would have started backing up a little as soon as I saw it coming over the crest, because we've seen that in movies. You're just like, nah, there's not a lot, and you're like, oh my god, there's a lot. It looked like marshmallow fluff from a distance, and then I'm like, oh. That's snow. That is ice. That's go. Hopefully, and they lived because we saw the footage of it. But
I mean, maybe it was just uploaded to the cloud.
Maybe, but no, I believe it wasn't. The guy who uploaded it was issuing takedowns of if you were on Twitter and you were reusing the account or reusing the footage, but not from his account and not crediting, he didn't even want you to credit him. He wanted you directly to go to his page to see it. So you have these bigger pages that are that clout, steal, and there's like, oh, this video would be great. So his video got 1,000 likes. They started getting 14,000, and he's like, whoa, hey, no, takedown. And I was like, has that ever happened where some random regular person did that to a bigger?
Honestly, though, I respect it because it should happen more often, because it does happen a lot. I don't know if they credit him or not, and even then, because views do a lot to your numbers.
Yeah,
on Twitter or whatever. Because if people have to go to your page, it does so much.
Yeah, I was just like, wow, all right, good, maybe that'll start a trend.
Maybe. Well, because the thing is, all the big guys are doing it to the little guys, and that sets legal precedent. If they can do it, then we can do it.
Yeah, exactly.
I think right now there's a big copyright case going as well. Honestly, I forgot what it's about, but also about online content of big agencies suing some little guy. Where I just thought to myself, I'm not sure you want to win this, my guy, because you're just giving us weapons.
Yeah, oh man,
I'm okay with that. But
yeah, it's a classic case. What's funny is because there's no it happened so long ago outside of the internet stuff where big companies sue little guy, sets legal precedent, little guy tries to use it, against the big company, and the big companies are like, well, we're prepared for this because we have these things in place. Whereas the internet, it's been a wildless, outlaw land for the last 22 years, and longer, where now we're like, okay, DCMA, yeah, we're going to start taking it down. It's like, okay, but now you're using my content and making money off of it. I'm going to hit you back. And because there's not legal precedent, a way to fight it because no one's tried it. You can't sit here and just the only move that the big companies have is to fucking slog you with litigation and whatnot. But if you're I have a clear-cut win, I don't care. I'm getting an insane amount of money out of this, and somebody will take this case because there's a lot of money to be made. It's I think it happened to Metallica after they claimed copyright stuff and basically got DCMA started. 5 or 6 years later, they got sued because they used somebody else's copyright in a music video, and immediately had to pay out $10 million because of the law that they inadvertently caused.
Yeah,
wasn't there last year an instance of Metallica was playing for a Twitch stream?
Yeah, that too. Yeah,
and their own bot took down the stream because of the law that Metallica helped pass. That was funny.
Then I think there was several artists who got their streams taken down because of DCMA claims
oh man,
of their own music.
Yeah, especially at the start of the pandemic when a lot of the recording artists are like, I can't tour, and that's how I make money, like, because streams are shit. And like, wait, this streaming thing, I can stream on, I can do live concerts, and oh, dude, and then they're just doing what they do at a live concert, which is they just play the music and then sing along and whatnot. But then they get hit with the DCMA, and then they're like,
to be fair, to credit the algorithm,
yeah,
for a lot of artists, they don't own the music because it's their music labels that own it. So technically, they are playing music that they don't own.
Yeah. And they're realizing, oh fuck, this is horrible, right? Because they're like, wait a second, not like most artists are aware that record labels are just pure evil, like, but they're a necessary evil because monopoly. How else are you going to, you're not going to make them. Yeah, you're never going to make a million. You're never going to be $1 million recording artist being independent. Like, you have to sign with a recording label so that they get you to a point where then as an independent artist you can be
like what
be a millionaire.
Exactly. She started her own indie label now, right?
Yeah, and then she re-recorded everything so she could own it. Yeah. But yeah, so that was a long. I faked out the intro because we got back in. We're here on the dark side of the ring. We're not swimming to a different continent that doesn't belong. Two of my favorite Europeans. We've got Inze from the Netherlands, InzeNL, or as some people say, Inze, Inze. What else?
Inzel's getting way more popular, and I do not.
I don't like. No, it's Inze. All right. Here's the clip. It's Inze. It is literally in the Netherlands. That is the name. It is InzeNL. It is
yes, it's not like Inze is my real name, but yes.
No, it's like in Netherlands. That is literally that. It's not like so in the Netherlands. That's how I remember it. So then it becomes Inze. Like, also I think like I'm gonna pat myself on the back. I think that was the best like Dutch accent I've ever done, and I'm never going to try it again.
I'm pretty sure it was German, but.
It might have been German. It was close. Yeah. It was definitely closer.
Close enough.
Like I said, it's the best one I've ever done. I didn't say it was good.
Yeah. That's fair.
And we got on the other side of the virtual table, Momo. How you doing?
Hi, I'm good. I'm good. It's a very nice weather today, and we're not quite in the heat wave yet. So I'm just chilling, enjoying myself, starting to work up on some art projects again. Ooh. So that's going to be exciting.
Ooh. Excitement. Love when we got the creative juices flowing, especially when I can take advantage of them for my own content, because now the creative juices, now we're getting the brain stuff. But it's good. We've got two great first-time guests, and I'm excited that we finally were able to get this together and get both of you on here. Inze, you want to start us off? Introduce yourself. Let the people know a little bit about you and what you got going on.
Oof. Okay, I'm Inze. I'm a variety streamer that streams like once a year. Other than that, I work in software engineering, and I use that to create a lot of awesome tools with streamer friends I know. And other than that, I don't do a whole lot right now.
As somebody who's benefited from many of those tools in my time of knowing you, just great stuff. People should pay Inze. I'm just saying, just pay. We're getting money.
InzeNL.com.
There you go. And Momo, how about yourself? Give yourself a little introduction and plug the stuff that you're working on that you would like to share with the people.
All right. Hi, I'm Momo. I know Grum through our shared history in roleplay. We originally met on it's a wonderful little server called the Crew RP, and since then we've done some roleplay projects together. Now, who am I in my private life? I'm a how do we even call it? A variety artist. I do art. I code a little bit. I make a lot of music. I video edit, image edit. Honestly, I do all the art. That's my thing. It's a little hard to find me because I'm what I would describe as an artist rather than a consumer artist. So I don't have accounts on massive social media. You won't find me on SoundCloud or Twitter or whatever. I'm mostly on Discord. That's really my only social medium right now. So you might see me hanging out in discord.grum.tv. I don't know if that's a URL.
It's Grum's Discord. Yeah.
Grum.tv. All right.
That was good. Yeah. No, that is artist is a very good, because it doesn't like. I hate when people are like, oh, like I'm a true artist, or I'm a real blind, like kind of to like it slights like people who do art, and they do art for, you know, to make money, or they do it to be shared, or they do it for the you know, the influence that they gain from on social media from their art, and it's like that's valid. I don't like. So
it's all valid.
Yeah, saying I'm an artist, like you just do the art. You know, it's just that you're not you're not caught up in the rigmarole.
I make art for me. I make art for other artists, my friends, my loved ones. I'm not trying to build a fan base or make any money. I have the privilege to not have to do that. So that's nice.
True hobbyist, love it. Because I mean, that's the podcast is just me. It's an excuse for me to hang out with friends. Because sometimes it's tough when you're just like, hey, what are you doing tonight? I got this. All right, we'll try again. And then you go the ping pong of, hey, what about that? But if it's like, hey, I have this podcast.
Oh wow!
Like, you want to come?
That's the only reason I wanted to hang out with you.
It's just weird because it's like, oh, cool, like, oh, that it feels. It's like it makes. I know when people ask me to come on their stuff, it makes me feel like even more welcomed. Like, you know, you're welcome, but you're like, oh, you're putting out oh, okay, yeah, no, I got you. Like, you know, so it's always good. You know, just hobbyists. And if things happen, things happen. But yeah, so we'll start off as every podcast with guests getting to know their experiences with pro wrestling. So Momo, we'll start with you. What is your experiences or lack thereof with professional wrestling?
Well, my experience with pro wrestling is next to nothing. I feel like it's mostly a very North American activity. I know of it, but it's never been broadcast on any TV channel or anything like that. What I do know about it is from just assorted media and also a couple of episodes of your own podcast. And I'm getting the impression that a lot of their stuff is, well, it's storytelling, right? It's
yes.
acting, it's make-believe. And this is something that I identify with a lot myself, because in my daily life, well, I pretend to be a functioning adult, and I've been told that they pretend to not be the worst people who have ever walked on this planet. So we have a lot in common. Given the fact that all three of us have done Grand Theft Auto roleplay, I was thinking you were going with that. Pleasantly surprised. You were like, just like I pretend to be a functioning human. Like, no, I did not see that. That's good.
How did you think I got into roleplay? I've been roleplaying
that's why I'm such a good at it. It's like I do it every day. I roleplay that I want to be where I'm at. But yeah. So it's interesting because I know. I will get into it. We'll get into it because I'm sure I want to hear Inze's experience. So, Inze, what's your experience with pro wrestling and sports entertainment?
I've watched a bit. I do it a bit more lately because I have a friend that's really into wrestling, and we watch some wrestling together sometimes. But I don't like actively follow it. I know like 3 names or something.
Okay,
all right.
I can
think of 3 names, and that's okay. I mean, there's Rhea Ripley, whom I know for obvious reasons.
Obvious reasons. Yes, obvious reasons.
There is
correct. Yes.
Savage.
Okay.
And there's Hulk Hogan. I got
There's 3. Here we go. The fact that you went Rhea Ripley 1 before the 2 of the most well-known.
Listen.
Right? No, I understand. I get you. That's this. Like, yeah. No, I get you.
I mean,
Look, I'm me and people listening, and I'm sure I might clip that.
They
and
know
just put
why.
it, yeah,
They
exactly.
know why.
Everyone knows why. All right, so maybe we'll play. You know what? Maybe we'll play a little game of what is so in wrestling. It used to be very carny, so carnival, and they would speak Pig Latin around what they called marks, which, you know, if you watch like cop movies that involve cons and whatnot, marks being people who are easily removed from their money. They would speak Pig Latin, so part of the lingo is Kayfabe, which is fake in Pig Latin, and then shoot is like, oh no, I'm keeping it real with you. So a little game I like to play is called Shoot or Kayfabe. Normally, I've only done it like once or twice, so we'll do it again. Let me just pull up my list of gimmicks and such that I may use in the, you know, for Dorkside topics in the future, and then I'm just buying myself time while it loads. But yes, okay, so here we go. Ready? Is this a real character or a fake character? Okay. Soldier Ant.
Fake.
Momo?
I'm gonna go. You're keeping it real.
Okay. Momo is correct. There is a real wrestler named Soldier Ant. Okay. All right. What about a character by the name of Kazarni? Who the gimmick is they are a carnival, you know, goer. Thus, they speak in very carny speak. So it's very on the nose for what we're doing. It's Kazarni.
I'm gonna say real.
Okay.
I gotta go with real as well. I don't think you made up that name. That's.
Okay.
I'm gonna go with the name.
Okay.
You're not clever enough for that.
I know, right? Damn.
Wasn't gonna say it. But...
Yes, Kazarni is a real character. Yes. What about the Goon? Is a wrestler who's based off of a hockey player whose only job is to beat up people. The Goon. Real or fake?
I'm gonna say real.
I'm gonna go fake on this one.
We got real on Inza, fake on Momo. It is real. Actually did an
I was gonna
episode.
say, I almost said, like,
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure I've heard that name. I was like, I don't want to.
Yeah,
Are
no.
just all these real? Are all these names just real? Is that just the safe bet here? Is that?
No, look, so that's what they thought the last time I did this, that all the names were going to be real. And yes, they were right. They all ended up being real. Okay, but the point still stands. So here's what let me bring up. That's Soldier Ant from Chikara. Wrestler, part of the colony. So there was a bunch of them, fire ant, worker ant, and then it got to a point where it became more and more, and they became like there was like fire rescue ant and all these things. Here is Kazarni. He made his WWE debut in like 2008, I want to say. Didn't last too long. He kind of got too far into the character a little bit for WWE's liking, and was like, all right, you're a little, yeah. And then who did I just say? The Goon. All right, and I got one more for you. Aries. Aries.
That's
Aries, a real wrestler.
That's an astrology sign.
Much like Ares is how it's spelled. So much like the actual God of War. Yep. Mm-hmm. Was there somebody?
I'm gonna go with real on this one. Otherwise, someone should take that name. It's a good one.
There is. There is a wrestler by the name of Aries. He had done. He did a lot in Chikara, much like the Soldier Ant. But doesn't, you just look at this picture, that doesn't look like a god of war by any stretch of the imagination.
Nope, would not have guessed that was
no,
Aries.
Aries is actually the reason I went with here is Swiss. So wrestled a lot in Europe, along with his tag team partner, Claudio Castagnoli, who is wrestling at AEW currently. But yeah, Aries became a fixture in Chikara, so I wanted to get like a European. I was almost going to do Claudio Castagnoli, just kind of like, that's actually somebody's name, like Claudio Castagnoli. Is it a real? And you were like, what? No. Yeah.
You spelled it exactly like you would expect it to as well.
What, Claudio Castagnoli? Yeah. He's actually he's a great wrestler, fantastic. I have loved him for 13 years. Like been a fan of him. So that was Shoot or Kayfabe. Good ground. You got. I think Momo wins it. I think 3-1, or 3. Get it 3 correct. Into
something like that. Yeah.
Something like that.
I know I lost. You don't have to rub it in how hard I got.
Look, if 3-2, you're okay. Hey, all right, look, it's okay. But yeah, no. So that was fun. I enjoy when my guests have very little knowledge, so I can be like, yeah, no, here's this character whose idea I pulled on Bear and Myth, the progressive liberal, as a character, and they both thought I made that one up. And
I would believe that one exists.
Yeah, it does, right? In Bible Belt America too. So like they're they're bad
I'm not
guys.
surprised. Of course, that will be a heel.
Yeah.
Watch out, he has pronouns.
he's got pronouns with him. He comes. That's what honestly. That's such a good idea of like evolving it, is like he's got 2 steel chairs and they have he and him on them. Like he's got his pronouns. Just like so he had let me see if I can find the picture of him. His like gear, he would come out, and this is like prime like 2016 election, and his gear had like hit Hillary all over it, so like it got to a point, it was just kind of ridiculous. Okay, here we go. Here we go. That's the one I want. That's the one I want. So this is when he would come out and wrestle. Like the shirt, he'd have matching tights.
Good.
It was so. It's just so like he was, it went all the way into the bit of like, yeah, no, like we should win. Like he'd go into he would be like, there's no reason why only one of us can win. We both could win. Like playing into the bit of like the idea of a progressive liberal, so he got booed out to high heavens, but yeah, no, that was
good heel.
Great heel work. Great heel work. That's knowing your audience, right? He knew I'm in Western Kentucky. I'm going to just be their idea of the worst person ever.
I don't know a lot of wrestlers yet. I just know that at one point, an Undertaker threw all of Mankind 6 foot off of an announcer table. Had Elf on the shelf, I think. I got that right.
Yes, the Undertaker did throw Mankind off of a 16-foot cell through a table. Yes, not all of Mankind, just one person, just one.
I thought, whoa, he's strong. I don't remember that happening.
And I don't remember this moment.
And that's how we got the moon.
This sounds like Dragon Ball Z lore.
He picked up all of Mankind. Did Mankind die? Find out next week on Dragon Ball Z.
Dragon Ball Z.
My favorite thing, John Oliver last week tonight, one of his shows was about like wrestlers not being this weird spot where they're independent contractors, but they're also employees. Like they're treated, they are, when it benefits WWE, they are treated as independent contractors, but when it benefits WWE to treat them as employees, they treat them as employees. So they don't really have health care. They don't have unionizing probably isn't the smart. They should unionize. You should always unionize. But much like other very wealthy industries that have historically not have a union, the people up top, you need those people to go, no, I'm good. Like we're gonna take this. We're gonna not perform. But WWE has been pretty good at, manipulating the workers, but also making them be unable, even the ones who want to strike, unable to strike. So John Oliver did that, and the reason I bring it up is in that he talks about why he loves pro wrestling is because only in pro wrestling could you hear the word a human being just exploded through a table. And he's like, you can't hear that. You don't hear that on Days of Our Lives. You don't hear that, on Monk. Like, you don't hear that. You just hear that in pro wrestling with, like, those words. And I'm like, so for a while, like, my Twitch alert would be, unfortunately, not a man exploding through a table, but, and then whatever I was going to plan on playing for the day. Because it's a good point.
That's so good.
And then one day when it says a man exploding through a table, you go, wait a second, excuse me?
What?
What'd you say?
Nani?
Nani? So, yeah. So today's episode, it won't involve somebody exploding through a table. It will, though, however, be unlike any other wrestling that had happened at that, well, not at that time, but on a scale of which we see. But before we get to that, I have to ask a question. How do we feel about parking lot hangouts? I don't, because, so, with both of you being European, I don't know if there's such a, I feel like it's a different culture when it comes to, when I was growing up as a kid, the parking lot was like the one place you go with your friends and just kind of hang out, and like, you weren't getting yelled at because you could loiter in a parking lot. Like, you can't loiter outside of a store, or, like when you were younger, like probably like 16 to 18. But you just hang out there and then you go home. You hang out with your friends because you couldn't necessarily hang out you might not be able to hang out at somebody's house, or somebody was like, oh, like, we're gonna, smoke a little weed. So can't really do that at somebody's house because it's kind of frowned upon. So we'll do it at the parking lot.
Imagine.
Yeah, right? Imagine it. Shut up with your Europeanness. I hate it. Look at you being progressive and.
I feel like parking lot hangouts are not even really a thing here. I feel like we have certain parks that people hang out with. I'm also not from the city, so I wouldn't know.
Okay.
But like my sister lives in the city, and she lives like near a park where just kids hang out, which is terrible because they make a lot of noise and are fucking rude. But that might just be Dutch people. But
no.
That's probably also American kids.
That definitely. Oh boy, let me tell you something. Right, the difference is those are reasonably acting children and whatnot. Whereas it's like the 8-year-olds in America that are just. They're just getting louder and louder, and it's just like, oh no.
8-year-olds. 16-year-olds.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I'm telling you, the American thing is just you take it and just be like, all right, they're getting loud, and loud and rambunctious now. I mean, God, there was when I was in high school, not high school, when I was in college, I want to say like 2011, there was like a rash of like middle schoolers like jumping and attacking people. Like, it was a thing that they just did in the city. Yeah, like it got to a point where there's also a thing called the knockout game, which was like middle school and early high school kids like hanging out with friends. Somebody would point somebody out, and then they would just go knock that person out.
What?
Yep.
The fuck is wrong with America?
A lot, I tell you. Like, I think I'm sure it still happens, but
we all know.
there's a lot. That's somehow on the bottom of the list a little bit. But yeah, what about you, Momo? How you feel about hanging out in the parking lots like old Grease Lightning?
Yeah, my experience is mostly parks in the Netherlands, but those always nice park hangouts. I did those a lot when I was like between 14 and 17.
Yeah, I was one of the rude kids, the noisy kids.
I was.
So then it's nice, right? Then it's fine. If you walk by like a proper adult, then it gets scary.
Yeah, you were fine. You're like, oh, like, and then you see a group of look. There's a tweet, and it's your biggest fear as a Philadelphian, an adult in Philadelphia, is walking by a group of school children, and because they can destroy you with words of like, where are you going with that nut ass tie, old head? Like, it's just so like.
It just sense your exact weakness.
Yes, they're some they are like. And I don't think, like, at some point in my life, I was probably that, like, mixture of, I want to make fun of this person, and I know how to make fun of this person, and I'm going to. Like, it's like a chemistry concoction, right? So now I'm like, but, and I also don't care about this person's feelings. But then, like, empathy got poured into me. And nowadays, like, the kids are just, they're empathetic, but then they're like, I'm still gonna, like, they're just, like, pouring like more in.
The empathy just get canceled out.
Yeah,
like,
yeah. You're like, wow, they're more empathetic than I ever was, but they also are more ruthless.
I feel like high school is like emotional Hunger Games. There's a food chain in place, and if you don't eat, you get eaten. And that's just the high school life.
Honestly, though, they should recruit those for the FBI or the CIA for like interrogations. Like, how fast you could like. Oh, what? You're gonna play good cop, bad cop? No, we're bringing in these Philadelphian kids. Oh no, anything.
We're bringing in school children. Children. What do you care? And then they just go. They'd walk in like, yo, who's the old man? Why are you in cuffs, old man? Like, what'd you do?
What's up with your left ring finger? Looks a little weird. That's my insecurity.
Yeah, like they're just like, it's like one kid.
How did they know?
They're like, hey, yo, your wife left you or something? Because I see I see a ring tan, man. You're looking a little pale. She left you, didn't she? Yeah, she left you, and she probably was right because you're in jail now. Look at you, damn. They're gonna think you're pretty, aren't you? They think you're pretty. Oh, you probably thought you were so slick, but now look at you, pal.
I think we figured out the solution for crime.
If you get arrested, you get you don't have to face cops. You face children who are willing to to just roast you for, and you get roasted for like proportionate to the crime you did. You murdered somebody, that's a lifetime of getting roasted. We just walk different school children who make fun of you every day.
That's the worst type of life sentence.
You just put you in like a very humane habitat. And the only human interaction you get is, 13, 14, 15-year-old school children who get to roast you, and you have to take it. There's nothing you can do. It's like
this beautiful town, but all the other people that live there are school kids.
Who live there and are paid to make fun of you. And they do it in such a way. It's brutal, because when, like, I was a kid, like, I mean, we made fun of people, but like, I feel like it starts so much sooner, and they know how to do it so efficiently, and it's concerning, but also in a weird way, like, exciting, because I'm like, oh, wow, like, we may get some good comedians here who know how to make fun of people without actually, like, punching down, so that's good. That's good. We might get good comedy out of this. All right, maybe not. Maybe we're not lost after all. But yeah. Okay, so you guys were hanging out at parks, so I'll mentally cross off the other question, because the other question was, I guess you could. You ever see like a fight break out at the parks? Like, or were they pretty peaceful?
I mean, between groups of kids for sure. Yeah. Not like fucking kids knocking out an adult.
No, I think
I feel like there's like a territory thing going on, right?
Okay,
like, this is our park. Like, if you show, I mean, that happened even with me in high school. Like, even within the high school, like my group had this certain bench, and there was another group that wanted it. I don't know why. Like, it wasn't even that great of a spot, but we had it, and we fought over that spot a lot.
It was your Greenland. It was your Greenland. Yeah. This is shit. This is a shit bench, but it's our shit bench.
We called it Greenland, so now people want to live there. That's a throwback to something I'm not even sure that's going to make the final edit.
My Greenland.
Like, where did they get Greenland from?
But yeah, look, your shit, our shit bench. They don't no, but like I guess like okay, good, all right. So it's not uniquely American to fight over nonsensical territory of like a city bench or something.
Sure,
yeah. That's our bench. No, my guy, it belongs to the city. It says right here, in memory of Jennifer Smith. Like, it's her bench. If anybody, it's whoever this Jennifer Smith is.
Who says my name isn't Jennifer Smith, huh?
Yeah, okay.
I died in 2007. That's my bench. I'm a ghost.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like this bench, 1990, it dedicated 1998 to Jennifer Smith. Bro, you were born in 2006. That was my guy. You're 8-year-old. What are you doing? Just fighting over.
No, that's the thing. Kids born in 2006 are 16-year-olds.
Yes,
they're 16-year-old. That's how are they not 8-year-old?
Because in the way time works, it's always moving forward, right? I've tried so hard to make it stop. I didn't want to hit 30. I never wanted to hit 30. I always wanted to be like, never gonna hit. Then I hit 30. And nothing changes. I don't know why I was like, I don't want to be 30. But, so now I'm working to stop 40. So I got another 10 years. So, I made 0 progress, though. So I'm still at 0. The best I got is, like, turning around and doing everything backwards.
If we all do that at the same time, do you think the Earth would just start turning around as
maybe.
Well? Like, start rotating the other way?
I feel like it. Like
if enough people do that, everyone does it. Just all walk in one direction.
But wouldn't you say like people are like that kind of already happens, right? Because I'll go like I see people driving the other way when I go to work, right? So like, it would just be reversed.
But are you driving the wrong way or are they?
I don't know. I guess. Maybe it is just me. Maybe I should just need to go backwards. Okay. We're going to try that. We're going to do that Monday. I'm going to drive backwards to work.
This podcast will never release because the world drama just spawned where the world started turning the other way.
Yeah. We'll never get past episode 54 or 55.
As if time zones aren't bad enough to switch around. Now the US is in front of.
Yeah, now we're in front of Europe. Ha ha ha!
Oh yeah, now they're ahead in time as well, as if they need more ego.
Yeah, no, I'm just saying. You know what? I'm too powerful. I'm gonna strike that from the record. Can't let anybody get time travel. What would you do if like? All right, so butterfly effect and everything and whatnot. What's like the most What is the one thing that you could go back in and probably would change the least amount in your estimation?
Oof.
Right? Like, this way it avoids the whole, like, I go back to prevent this war from happening, or I'd stop this person from dying, or I would stop this person from living past this moment, blah, 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 all that stuff. Like, what is the one thing that you would just go back in time to do that would be, like, just for a simple joy?
Is there a minimum time? Because otherwise it'd just be. I don't know what it would just be. I hope you interrupted me. So
no, I don't know. You just go back in time, any time for as long as would be needed for the activity. Like
I feel like if you just pluck someone's hair, right? You just. I mean, without them knowing, just grab someone's hair, pull it out. They might feel a little sting, but I don't think it would affect depending on who you do it to.
Okay. All right. What about you, Momo? What do you do? What's and so you can come up with an answer for this. Like just going back in time, the one thing you would partake in just for that you didn't have the opportunity just because of what. It being in the past and whatnot.
Oh, I have a good one for that.
So just going back in time to observe something is what we're doing?
Yeah.
I think there was one point in late 70s or early 80s, where there was like a sort of an art music festival where Frank Zappa was there with a symphony playing some of his compositions, and also John Cage had a symphony there. I would think I would go to that event and watch both of those things. That sounds exciting.
Okay, that's a good one.
Mine was gonna be Queen at Live Aid.
That's a good one too.
For the fact that it's Queen and I'm never gonna be able to see them live. Well,
Yeah.
I mean,
Well,
Queen
yeah,
still,
yeah,
but you know, with Freddie.
yeah,
And then, I mean, if I'm gonna pick Queen, it's gonna be Live Aid.
yeah. That's a good call. I would go back to the first time, the first good batch of ice cream was made. I want to go back to the person who was like, "This is how ice cream is supposed to be made," and be among the first people. Be like, "You know what you should do? Mint chocolate chip." And they'd be like, "What is a chocolate chip? What do you?"
I wonder though how popular like the modern day ice cream was.
Yeah,
when
right.
it
Like,
came out. It's like I feel like there'd be people like, no, this is disgusting.
yeah, like, oh, you took the cow's milk and you decided to you chill it. No, you're not supposed to do that. What is wrong, you heathen? You devil worshiper! You don't do that to milk.
Just taking a cow's milk is fine. That's not disgusting. It's
No,
it's the freezing part.
It's the freezing part, yeah. And then you're gonna put in flavors? How dare you? Yeah, no, mint. I'm just like, you know what you should do? You should put a whole bunch of shit in this that doesn't exist. Graham cracker, caramel. Like, what is that? What are those things? I'm sure
ice cream though.
Put like a stroop waffle in it. I'm like, what the hell is a stroop waffle? And I'm like, oh, yeah. You'll find out in like.
You just say that.
Actually, you'll never find. That's a good question. That is a good question. Where was ice cream invented? I feel like it's definitely a European thing, right? Because that's a
wait for a man working for the Spanish viceroy in Naples. Yeah.
When was ice cream invented? Yeah.
Oh, okay. But Naples is Italy, right?
Yeah. Yeah, no. Okay, because I want ice cream, not like gelato. That's like I want specifically the milk-based sorbet, which most culinary historians consider the first official ice cream. Oh my god, this is a good-looking ice cream on this.
Wait, Wikipedia says the Mongol Empire?
What? Oh yeah, no.
I mean,
okay.
Honestly, would not be surprised. They didn't.
Yeah, the emperors of the Tang dynasty are believed to have the first to eat a frozen milk-like confection. Version was made with cow, goat, or buffalo milk that was heated with flour, camphor, and aromatic. There we go. That's the word. Substance harvested from evergreen trees was added to enhance texture and flavor. The mixture was then placed into metal tubes and lowered into an ice pool until frozen. It's similar to the way the Indians made kulfi prior to refrigeration. So apparently it just didn't look that good. But yeah,
I mean, there's some ice cream that still looks disgusting.
That's true. That's true. Most of it is like the pistachio ice cream.
Mm-hmm.
And I like pistachios, not pistachio ice cream.
I mean, I don't, but that's allergies, not.
Oh, that's good. Well, the reason we're not talking about ice cream, I'll tell you what we're talking about. 2003, a little known wrestler at the time by the name of John Cena, and he was in a rivalry with then United States champion Eddie Guerrero. John Cena was the bad guy at the time, and he, kind of took liberties with Eddie Guerrero in some matches, including hitting him in the privates during a match, and then proceeding to beat him down. So Eddie Guerrero challenged him on a future episode to a Latino Heat parking lot brawl, and that so happened to take place September 11th, 2003, episode of Smackdown, and we're going to watch it. It is John Cena versus Eddie Guerrero in a parking lot brawl. The reason why is because it kind of stood out, especially at the time. They've done it before of like these kind of like, out of the arena, more like rough, not normal wrestling in the history of wrestling. But WWE, this one's a little different because it's despite it being a parking lot brawl, it's a like organized thing, and I'll show you why, and you'll see how it's kind of an organized thing. There's a referee and everything,
like a backyard wrestling kind of thing.
Kind of, yeah. It's kind of like a little bit. So we're gonna watch it. Before we do predictions on who wins, is it John Cena or is it Eddie Guerrero?
I mean, it's obviously Eddie.
Okay, you say Eddie Guerrero wins
because his name I don't know.
I think it's gonna be John Cena because isn't he invisible? That's
that's good. That's a good skill to have.
That is true. You can't see him. This is
especially
true.
In a parking lot, right? In a ring, you could like. There's only so many places you could hide.
Yeah.
He could be anywhere.
He
could be under the car, in the car. Who knows where he is?
He could have gone home. Like, he's coming back tomorrow morning. When you're exhausted.
Driver just driving off.
It's like when you no-clip as you're driving. You take the no body skin in Grand Theft Auto. You're just driving. It's good.
Yeah.
It's a little trick Momo taught me.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. So we're gonna watch that here on the Dark Side of the Ring. We'll be right back. Taking a break from the episode here just to tell you a little bit about what we got going on support.grum.tv. That is the Patreon to support the podcast and myself because they are one and the same. We've got fun stuff. I just put up on the Patreon a fun little video, Pokemon content, if that is your thing, or you want to see me take on challenges. I got that there. We also have streams. I'm having a stream this Thursday, July... I guess it's August, right? No, it's July 28th. July 28th. I got it. July 28th. I'll be streaming in the Discord, on Twitch.tv, on YouTube, T-Grum on YouTube. Gonna be doing it all. Go all there. Check that out. You, as a member of the Llama Club at the $5 tier, you get speaking permission for the stream. You can hop in the Discord stream and talk. It's actually a lot of fun. We also have on the Patreon at the Llama Club Elite tier the watch along of the Custody of Dominic Mysterio ladder match, episode 35. Myself, Oren, and Shawningham. That's going to be up on the Patreon as well. More stuff coming up on the Patreon as well. Support.grum.tv. Today, for as low as $1, you can support the content that I make, and I give it back towards my community as however I can get. Maybe perhaps a new microphone, maybe some other things, all that stuff. So, all that on support.grum.tv. I appreciate it. Now back to the show. Bloody. Well, that's it. That was the parking lot brawl. We're back here on the dork side of the ring. My lord, what a brawl. What a brawl.
What a brawl.
So we'll start with you, Inza. First impressions of the Latino Heat parking lot brawl.
That was great. I feel like the scene really allowed more. You could see the impact of what people do than with normal wrestling. Like, I mean, throwing someone in a table looks cool, but throwing someone in a car and it actually being affected like that's insane.
See the damage, the dent to a hood.
Yeah, the real damage that's done.
What about you, Momo? What are first impressions from the parking lot brawl?
This was honestly masterwork. As far as like, half improv theater goes, masterful camera work, masterful athleticism. I was talking during the show about how they were so smart about using the set for certain moves, certain choreography, because I've seen some wrestling matches where like, sure, they're doing like the classic moves and it's still cool, but slamming someone's head into the hood and grabbing a lawnmower out of the back of a soccer mom van, that's they spend time figuring out how to do that. This is not their normal vocabulary.
No, I want to know. Who thought, hey, can we get a lawnmower for a right? Like, it's one that would make sense if they were fighting in a backyard, right, with grass. Like, the lawnmower is there. That somebody specifically said, what if we got a lawnmower in the back? What if we put a lawnmower in there? It just so happened to be in the back of the van. Like, also, they must have started that like right before, like, they started filming, because he pulled one time and everything happened perfectly.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say that. Like, it's not just a lawnmower; it's a lawnmower that's filled up enough to actually run. And like, like probably started before because he only pulled once. He could be strong, but it ain't never started in one try.
Pulled once, and he had pulled the cord so hard and fast that he let go of it, and it literally wrapped around tight around the gas thing that like you hold, like the kill switch, so that it would still run. And I'm like, yeah, this is ridiculous. Okay, because I work at a cemetery. I landscape for a living. We have a push mower for some of our more sensitive spots that take 3 or 4 pulls, and then the cord isn't long enough to do that, because if it was, I would do it 100%. But Jesus Christ, it was ridiculous. And then it just turned on the whole time. Glad nobody
throughout the whole match, dude.
I did think it was funny though.
Running in the background.
Yeah.
So they brought out the lawnmower, and there was a whole like build up. And then the maneuver they did with it was John Cena charged at Eddie Guerrero with the lawnmower, which I thought was pretty funny. Like, if I was gonna bring a lawnmower into a wrestling match, I would have like had Eddie Guerrero like dazed on the hood of a car, and then John Cena picks up the lawnmower and like walks up to him to like cut his hair, like
and then he just rolls out in time,
and then just rolls out. That's what I would have done with that one. That would have been cool.
And they said we're just going to charge it like it's a shopping cart.
We're just gonna charge him.
That's also like dangerous, to be fair. Like, if that gets on your toes, that could fuck you up.
Yeah, no, you lose a whole toe. My God, like the fact that also shout out John Cena wearing proper footwear. He said, I'm gonna wear some some Timberland work boots because I can. I'm not in a wrestling ring.
Did you see all the tools he used? Like, he had to get in his working attire.
So he had there was this. All right, so for those who did not watch it, who are listening, I recommend go finding it. 2003 September 11th, 2003 Smackdown. John Cena and Eddie Guerrero parking lot brawl. There's a white minivan, and John Cena opens up the hatch after he dazes Eddie Guerrero, and he pulls everything out like in one foul swoop. Like, everything was connected to this one stick, and he brings it out, and he gets to the lawnmower, and he uses it. But he also in there were multiple shovels, a pickaxe. I think there was a regular like wood hatchet axe, and like just like tiki torches, stick things that you would use like to hold things up. Like, Momo said about it, like, why didn't he go for the pickaxe? Like, the pickaxe would have been incredible. Just go through the roof and you just leave it in there. That would have been nice imagery. That
would have been cool,
right? Yeah. And he just swings like that.
Yeah, like one person tries to leave in the car and the other one jumps on top and starts pickaxing holes in the roof.
I feel like it would be hard to pull out. Like, I wonder how reusable.
Yeah, right. Like in the
movies, and then you have to like really pull it out.
If you do it once, it's still good. So.
Yeah,
true.
You do
it right once.
Yeah, exactly.
And you don't need to do it again.
Yeah. But yeah, they like Momo said, very very creative use of almost I think every vehicle there was used. Obviously, except for the vehicle that Eddie Guerrero came in on, because that one had to drive back. So
yeah, they had to leave in it.
Yeah, had to leave in it.
Great, they just used.
Yeah, it just like they used the one car, both driver's side windows get smashed. And definitely the one like The one kind of felt like sugar glass. Like it broke very easily.
It was very easily broken.
But then again, it was John Cena's head going through it. So like
yeah.
And if you hit it in the right spot, it doesn't take a whole lot to break a car window.
No. There's some horror stories in wrestling with driver windows or just windows in general. One of the worst is in 2000 WCW. They did this backstage segment where Goldberg was chasing these guys, and they go into a limousine, and I guess he was supposed to have like iron thing in his jacket so that he could break the windows. But he goes in and he's breaking the windows, and he's just smashing and smashing. They're not breaking, to the point where he literally busts his arm open on it. And he's so filled with adrenaline that he continues to do the thing that he's supposed, and he goes and smashes the hood of the car, and blood splatters everywhere. Damn near killed himself because he just had all this blood flowing and going, and he's like, he hit a gash. He had like a gash from like his elbow to his wrist.
Ooh.
What?
But because Bill Goldberg is a big dumb animal in human form, he's like, and I'm like, dude, go, stop. There's been other cases where they go through like sugar glass and whatnot. Another one where they thought they had sugar glass. So King of the Ring 2001, Kurt Angle and Shane McMahon wrestle in a street fight. And the staging and everything for the Titantron, the big screen and everything, there's these glass panes that they were like, oh, let's go through them. And before the show, like their stunt guy was like, we can't make them sugar glass with all the fireworks and everything. They'll break. Like they'll just break from the heat. And they're like, so we have to use real glass. And they're like, all right. And they tell Kurt Angle and Shane McMahon this, and they're like, oh, damn, that sucks. Okay. And Shane McMahon's like, put me through him anyways. And he's like, what?
This guy.
Like, yeah. Meanwhile, Shane McMahon, not a professional wrestler. He literally is he's doing this because he's an insane person. He's an adrenaline junkie. He's in a wrestling match with an Olympic gold medal winning wrestler, Kurt Angle. Kurt Angle suplexes him into the glass, and the glass does not break. Like, doesn't budge. And he throws him, and he drops down on his, like, the back of his neck, right? So kind of like onto hard concrete.
Jeez.
And he's like, do it again. And he's like, are you sure? And he's like, yeah. And he gets it, and he throws, like, he, like, puts all of his energy into it, and he fucking just goes right through it. And mind you, they have cameras in there because they had planned for that spot anyways. Then they're like, well, we got to get out of here, and we can't just go right back through where we came out of. Throw me through the other one. And he's like, all right, Shane, I guess so. He's like, suplex me. So he grabs him, German suplexes him. But there's such even fight. Like, they went from outside to inside. There's a lot of space to get, like, get you up and over, get some force. There's not this much space. There's maybe, like, it's about the size of, like, a cupboard, right? And so he's like, he throws him as best he can, and he just thunks against the glass and drops on his head again. And then he picks him up. He's like, all right, you're going through it. And he's like, he throws him like head first through it. And he had like a really bad concussion that he did not remember the rest of the match in.
Yeah, and no shit.
And they go backstage, and Vince is like, never do that again. I don't give a damn. Like, you, and like, he's like yelling at Kurt Angle because like that's his son that he basically killed. And his son's an idiot, and he's like, God damn it, you should have known better. Like, and he's like, Vince, called it in the ring.
Wrestlers are insane though.
They are batshit insane.
Like, if you have to, I always think about Jeff Hardy.
Oh yeah,
with the fucking earlobe and the screwdriver. Like,
that's recent too.
Yeah.
What was the story? I've not heard this.
Okay. Do you want to explain it, Inze, and then I can fill in the.
Yeah. So basically, Jeff Hardy has like these rings in his ear that like they're like the bigger rings that make them gape a bit. Oh, and I think it was in a match with Randy Orton.
Yep.
And Randy Orton grabbed a fucking screwdriver, and it was all Jeff Hardy's idea. This, and he just puts it in the air, and he starts twisting the screwdriver.
Oh,
it's insane.
Yeah, he had these pretty big gauges, and like to the point where a standard like this, like a screwdriver like this, right?
Yeah.
Puts it into the gauge and then starts twisting it. And he gets it around 180 degrees and goes like 195, 200 a little bit. And it was sick. It was disgusting. And then it gets worse, right? This idea, right? So Dave, there's two ways it gets worse. One involves Jeff Hardy, one doesn't. So in 2019, WrestleMania, it is Triple H versus Batista. Batista has a nose piercing. He's wrestling with a nose piercing. In the match, Triple H gets a pair of pliers, goes and grabs the piercing, and then pulls on it. And and they get this nice in-close shot where they're like just like pulling it, and you see it like starting to like get make it the piercing a little wider, and then and then he's like, all right, that's enough. But Jeff Hardy ones up himself, so got the screwdriver. 2020, during the pandemic, Jeff Hardy finds himself in a three-way ladder match for the Intercontinental title against current champion AJ Styles and the former champion Sami Zayn. Winner gets to be a champion. So Sami Zayn, being a very smart wrestler and like a bad guy at the time and whatnot, takes a pair of handcuffs. Takes two pairs of handcuffs. He handcuffs AJ Styles to the bottom of a ring, like the bottom ring rope, so he can't like actually do anything. And then he handcuffs Jeff Hardy's ear to a ladder. Goes through the same gauge and puts it on like the connecting part of a A-frame ladder.
Mm-hmm.
And then Jeff Hardy is like, so he picks up he picks up the ladder and he's trying to walk into the ring to stop Sami Zayn from winning. It was one of the most creative spots and ways to finish a ladder match I've ever seen. Is basically I'm going to handcuff both guys to be incapacitated, but one of them I'm going to handcuff to a ladder. And like Jeff Hardy has a lot of ongoing issues. He's battled alcoholism and whatnot, but the guy is very much willing to put things that shouldn't go inside of his ear gauge in his ear gauge.
Mm-hmm.
For reasons I'll never understand.
The screwdriver, that's a lot of faith you gotta have.
Yeah.
Like in the other person to like not go too far. I mean, I don't know how much Jeff Hardy would have cared if it went too far, but because I remember like Randy Orton didn't want to do it to begin with, right?
Yeah, Randy Orton was like, Jeff, you sure? And Jeff's like, yeah, do that. Yeah. Yeah, I was gonna see if I could find the like a not horrific image of it. Oh yeah, there was also we forgot to explain the one part. Right before that, Randy Orton takes the gauge out of his ear, by the way. He goes in with his finger, rips the gauge out, so it is just the exposed ear hole, and so he was raw dogging it with a screwdriver, and just just disgusting. But yeah, wrestling's history with or just throughout, I should say wrestling history, but throughout wrestling's history, there are some really creative and somewhat gruesome spots. We were talking about how Undertaker threw Mankind off of a cell. We have Undertaker also threw Rikishi off of a cell into a hay truck. We've got, let's see, Kane got set on fire in an Inferno match. We talked about that. I talked about that with who did that was with Bear and Myth. We watched the first ever Inferno match where the object of the match is to set your opponent on fire. There's buried alive matches where the idea is to bury your opponent alive.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah, also including The Undertaker. The Undertaker's done a lot of these matches, by the way. They're just kind of like, let's just make this guy be buried alive. He's matches where you got to put your opponent into a casket, put your opponent into a funeral hearse. Yeah, a lot of he was in a match where if he lost, his manager would be encased in concrete.
Yeah.
He won the match and then encased his manager into concrete anyways. He's like, I don't need you. Like, all right,
shit,
pal.
my plan. I accidentally won.
Damn, I didn't mean to win. There's also a very famous one is the ambulance match. Multiple times the idea is you beat your opponent so bad that you throw them into an ambulance and are able to shut them in the door.
Mm-hmm.
And then they drive you. They drive you to the hospital. There's empty arena matches. Two of the most famous matches are empty arena matches. There's Jerry Lawler and Terry Funk in Memphis, and they just beat the hell out of each other in an empty arena.
Oh, God. Honestly, that's a lot of decor you have.
Yeah, and then there was the halftime heat. So during the Super Bowl in 1999, there was a WWE's like, we're gonna put on a wrestling match during halftime, and it was like a 20-minute match. It was between The Rock and Mankind in an empty arena match that ends with Mankind pinning The Rock underneath a forklift with like a pallet on it. And he pinned him, and then he sat on top of it, and he told the ref to count.
Nice.
Because and he ended up winning the championship like that. So, but yeah. And then there's ones that are just regular spots, not regular spots, are big spots. There's one time Mankind took 17 chair shots to the head unprotected, which not smart.
That's fine.
No. It was only supposed to be one or two. It's really only supposed to be one.
It was only supposed to be one or two.
And it ended up being 17. And it's The Rock. So you have this huge, muscular man taking a steel chair and just BAM! Across your skull. And he's handcuffed at the time. Like, his hands are behind his back. So he can't put his hands up or anything. It is his one regret in wrestling is that match, because he said, I should have just let it be. I shouldn't have even done one. His daughter was in that was ringside for that match, and she's like 6 at the time, so she's watching her dad be bludgeoned to death.
Yeah,
and yet somehow Mick Foley still conscious. Oh, I'm sure CTE is gonna whoop his ass at some point in his life, but he does everything he can to make sure his brain stays sharp and whatnot. But I'm like, dude, you took 17 chair shots in a single match. Not including the ones where you took just the same unprotected headshot in a regular match.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this was just one match.
Yeah, this is one match, 17 times. It's absolutely insane. But yeah, so the parking lot brawl, we had the lawnmower creative, the sugar glass. I think my favorite one was... And I think for the both of you as well, they got quite the reaction. Eddie Guerrero bouncing John Cena's head off the horn.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And
that was fun.
Just like 4 or 5 times off and then he's like, "Smile for Mama, John," and then like kisses him on the forehead and like hits him into the horn one more time. Eddie Guerrero then flies off the top of the minivan for a frog splash onto John Cena. And wins after Chavo Guerrero.
I was gonna say the rim
interrupts
cover.
takes the rim cover of like the minivan, basically, like it's that quality, and breaks it over John Cena's head. John Cena got a thick fucking skull, man. That guy.
Yeah.
Bro,
yeah.
So I thought that was very clever narrative to have Chavo Guerrero come in and smash him over the head, because the beauty is you can now create a scenario where Eddie wins, but half the people in the audience are not going to acknowledge it. They're not going to agree. They're going to go, "This is bullshit. He cheated. This doesn't count."
But Momo, their shirt says But their shirt says
cheat to win.
Cheat to win.
Yeah.
And that's so smart to get people engaged. Just have the guy who wins do it in a way that people won't agree with. Yeah. It's like, well, it's technicality. He wins.
Well, what's funny is, right, so that psychology, that logic, follows for every other wrestler in wrestling history except Eddie Guerrero. Eddie Guerrero was the one guy you wanted to see, because Eddie Guerrero had his gimmick from like 2003 to when he passed away in 2005 was, or 2002 to 2005 was lie, cheat, and steal. Right, so which when he was a bad guy, it was frowned upon. But when he was a good guy, he just kept doing it. But he would do these things like he'd get a steel chair, and he would the referee would be groggy behind him, like in a back turn, and he would slam it on the ground and then throw it at his opponent and then play dead. And then the referee would turn around like, "Hey, hey, you ring the bell, disqualification!" And the guy's like, "What the fuck?" So they're like, "What the?" And the best would he'd be like, he'd do the little eye up, he'd be like, and then the okay, yeah. And the referee, there was one where he did it before, right? And he's like, he did it, threw it, and then laid down, and the referee's like still getting up, and he's like, "Uh-oh," and he sees the guy, so he kicks the guy in the dick from the ground, and then he gets up and he's like, "Ugh," and then falls over as the ref looks around. They're both holding their dick, and the ref's like, "What? All right, whatever," and then starts counting like 1 for them to get up, because he doesn't know what happened. He just knows both of them are holding their dick, and there's a steel chair. He doesn't know what the fuck happened. So there's also when the bad guy tried to outsmart Eddie Guerrero and do it to Eddie, so they would do the same thing. They'd smash it on the ground, throw it to Eddie. Eddie would then smash it on the ground, throw it back to them, and then play dead because they forgot to play dead.
Because they forgot to play dead, so he's
some good stuff. Yeah, Eddie Guerrero was, as a kid, one of my favorite guys growing up because he was so just charismatic. I mean, you could see that from this match when he pulls up in the truck and immediately he's like, "All right, I'm going to fight you." And then in the middle of fighting, he's cracking jokes. You know, he says, "Smile from," he fixes the rear view mirror and says, "Smile from Mama, John."
Yeah,
you know, and then takes a cigarette lighter, you know, the car lighter, and jabs it into his chest.
Oh, he's right back.
Like, you know, and then so Chavo smashing it. You're like, is very on brand for the Guerreros. Is people wanted Eddie Guerrero to win. He did win. Everybody was happy. John Cena covered it, left, busted up. He blood all over. I think my favorite thing about the match was there was a segment right before it where it explained why all these wrestlers are back there. So right before it, they're playing poker and they're shit talking and everything, and then a match gets set up later, and they're like, you know what? It's time for the parking lot brawl. We'll take care. We'll see you after that. And so they all go to the parking lot brawl. So it explained why you had wrestlers there. I'm like, it's kind of creative, and they're all like, I think my favorite.
To see them.
Yeah. John JBL Bradshaw has a cigar and a beer and a Miller Lite in his hand the whole time, cheering on Eddie. Good time. It's a fun, creative little fight. I enjoy when wrestling takes itself out of the ring and decides we're going to try to be creative. And that was one of the first ones I can remember watching live.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah,
that's cool. Was this also shown live to a ring audience?
Yes. Yep.
You saw it on screen.
Yeah. So I think they were in Birmingham, Alabama that night. Yeah, they were in Birmingham, Alabama, and so they're in the arena, and they have to watch on either the jumbotron that hanged above the ring, or they watched on the big screen, big stage that they had. So this way they could still see it, and so if the crowd you heard was the crowd live that night, and they were able to watch it. So it was pretty good.
Yeah, because those camera angles and camera cuts were on point. It's really impressive that they could do that live.
It's very funny because WWE, for their in-ring production, is very for somebody like me, I'm tired. It's very fat. It's very like Marvel. You know how like Marvel fight scenes are like cut.
Yeah.
Yeah. WWE does very similar production to that, so that they do it so that it protects their talent. Because like maybe in one angle, it looks like you're landing the punch really hard, but in the other angle, the angle that you're currently on, you're gonna see that they pull the punch. Right, and then it doesn't connect, so they have to go back and forth to these ones versus just always, because you want to see their face, you want to see the person gonna punch you, or that, oh, I got hurt, but also you want to be able to not see them, you know, you want to keep the disbelief suspended.
Yeah.
Sure. But it gets too much sometimes. So like they'll do like 40 cuts in about 30 seconds, and you're like, okay, man, like I'm dizzy. I'm dizzy from all the cutting you're doing. But when they do the out of the ring stuff, when they could shoot it like an actual scene, and they're like, okay, like, all right, get this angle, or they kind of reduce it. Like right now, I think WWE has about like 6 or 7 camera angles at any one time, so you're always going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 2, 4, 7. You know, that one there was only 3 angles. It was the 2 guys walking around with the camera and then the steady cam. So you're kind of limiting the angles that they could do. Also, you know, they did that. I don't think they did that actual live. Like they probably did that like the night before, recorded all, which is still an impressive like feat to record.
Yeah.
A 12. Like that could have been. They could have been there all night.
It's still a one shot.
Yeah.
I mean, to be fair, you could have edited it afterwards because you have all the footage. But
yeah, but you're not going to make them go through. Some of them you're not going to be able to do again. Like you're not going to be able to do breaking the windshield because it just wouldn't make sense.
You have to get it on cam for sure.
Yeah.
Like if you don't get it, then you
like they got a good angle for everything, and they managed to edit it up fast enough. That alone is already impressive, even if it wasn't completely live.
What were your guys' favorite spots, like or stunts? You know, for in layman terms, like, you know, what was the one that made you go ooh the most? Because for me, it was the standing suplex. John Cena was standing on the hood of the car, and then dropped him. Because that one you can't like, you know, there's no that one that's gonna hurt.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, I feel like it's gonna be the driver's side windows thing, because that's like glass might break easily, but it's still hard. Like I've hit my head on windows before, and that was not on purpose. So with a lot of pressure behind it, it's gonna hurt.
Yeah. Oh, ow. Yeah. I was a kid. Yeah. You're like, well, how hard do I gotta go to break this window?
I'm glad I'm not the only one that did that.
You're look. There's a reason why curiosity killed the cat. All right, you know, you're just like, how hard do I have to hit this window to break it?
I mean, satisfaction brought it back to life. We're gonna use that saying.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah. What about you, Momo?
I mean, I think so. One that I liked was the what's it called? The seatbelt chokehold was nice.
Yeah,
that was very creative.
That one. That was great.
But at the end of the day, I gotta give it to Lawnmower Cavalry.
Yeah, I figured
it was just that good.
It's good. I forgot about the seatbelt chokehold. Yeah, that was a.
Yeah, I forgot about it too.
So, to explain to what happened to the crowd or to the listeners, Eddie Guerrero hits John Cena with the door, and then while he does that, he takes the driver's side seatbelt out and shuts the door. So there's like this little loop, and then he shoves John Cena's head into it, so that he's choking him, and so he can get a couple free shots into his stomach. And it's just, I was like, wow, that's really creative. Like Momo said, was there anything that you didn't like from the match? Is there anything that you were like, oh man, I kind of wish they didn't do that, or I wish that they would have done this better? Because for me, I don't really have one. Really, the only one I would have.
I feel like there was more potential in the tools.
Yeah,
because we had a lot. Like I feel like they could have done, because they used one shovel and the lawnmower.
Yeah, the lawnmower is a high spot. That was great. Yeah.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I wish they would have went back to using. I wish like John Cena was like, no, I'm going to use it. I'm going to cut you up with this lawnmower at some point. We went back towards it, but what about you, Momo? Anything stand out as could have been improved upon?
I'm also gonna give that to the lawnmower because I just feel like picking up the lawnmower and having like a James Bond murder machine moment with the lawnmower was just a missed opportunity as well. As much as I loved it, it just there's another layer of escalation they could have gone there. I would have loved to see.
So all right, let me paint an alternative spot. So John Cena, he's got Eddie Guerrero laying on the hood of the car, and he goes to get the lawnmower, and he picks up the lawnmower, and he has it, and he's walking over, and he's about to do it, and that's when Chavo Guerrero uses the rim on the back of his head. Oh. So you kind of still get it, but you never actually, because that's a dangerous spot, right? Like it's dangerous enough for John Cena to grab it while it's on. But you could also you could have also done the thing where it's on, but there's no blades. So maybe you do it so that like you can still you could have the struggle of John Cena like trying to push it onto Eddie Guerrero, and then Eddie's pushing. I'm like, no. That would have been
I feel like that would have had to been the thing for sure, because using actual blades is, I mean, wrestlers might be crazy, but I don't think they're that crazy.
I mean, a couple of them might be. A lot of them love using light tubes. Real life, like light tube deathmatch wrestlers.
Yeah, those are terrible.
Yeah, I mean, I see them.
It takes like 20 years to get all the glass out. It's fine.
Oh, it's so brutal. It's so satisfying to watch them break. I don't like them breaking over somebody. Like, so at work, like we have like the the long light tubes in the break rooms and whatnot. Yeah. And when we have to get new ones to replace them, I'm like, I'll throw them out. I'll take care of them. And then we go to the dumpster, and I'm like, hit, cha. And I'm like, all right, cool. Yeah. But like, I'm also doing that with like a mask because the shit that's inside of it, so that the light,
for sure.
There's a lot of gas. Do not. Yeah, be careful when breaking long light tubes or any light bulbs in general, man. Like they're meant to.
But it's fun though.
It absolutely.
Well, be careful.
Be careful. Really, in general, breaking shit is so much fun. I love.
Oh yeah.
I love. My mom one day we were getting rid of an old refrigerator. Like it was like our second refrigerator that like stored the extra meat, or it was just ice or whatnot. And when we had moved in, we didn't have a finished basement. And then when they built the finished basement, we couldn't get it out because it was too big to get it out of the room. And we're like, oh shit. So I took a sledgehammer and I broke it, like one of the walls, so I could, and it took me like an hour and a half, but it was so satisfying when I finally was able to be like, yes, I've broken it. I am man. Nobody can stop me. But yeah, my hands hurt after a little bit there.
Yeah. Oh yeah, we've brutal. Destroyed several barns here, so I know.
We'll just
I know the enjoyment. Yes.
Would you have liked to be at the part, like if they were to sell tickets to see a live parking lot brawl like that? Would say it's $20, right?
Oh, $20, sure.
Yeah, $20, definitely.
Yeah. All right, what about 100?
That would probably be the limit.
Okay.
Like
if I had someone to go with, I'd do 100.
All right. Okay.
Just for the one time, just to see it.
Yeah. Guaranteed lawnmower usage, $150.
Ooh.
Guaranteed there's going to be a lawnmower spot, but you have to pay $150.
Well, the thing is, that's the complicated part, right?
Yeah.
Because if you know ahead of time, it's not as exciting anymore.
You don't know what the lawnmower will be. But if you don't know ahead of time,
then you don't know you're willing to be.
Like, the parking lot brawl, $150. I don't need to see it. They guaranteed that they will use lawnmower. I'm back in. Let's go.
Honestly, $150 for a definite lawnmower use, yes.
So
I mean, we stand the lawnmower today, apparently.
Would you buy one of those? Would you buy the car as is? One of those cars, like you're just like, yeah, no, this is the car that they used.
I don't think for a scene like this.
No,
but I mean, I do find like with I feel like I'm not enough into wrestling for that.
Okay,
but I do like saying like having shit and being like, yo, this was used for. You remember this in this scene? Like that's what it was used for. Like
this is the car. This is the car that John Wick drove in John Wick 2.
Yeah.
Right.
I was actually also. I was going to say the pencil that John Wick killed someone.
Yeah, right.
John Wick.
Yeah, no. Having that. Yeah.
That pencil scene, like that was a story from the first movie, right?
Yeah, but he also did it in the second movie.
Yeah. No, the thing is, Keanu Reeves, like, don't want to say only requirement because he probably wanted to get paid as well. But like,
that's nice.
One of the main things he said, I'm willing to do John Wick 2, but only if we actually do the pencil scene. Like,
that was his own idea.
Yeah, that was one of the requirements to actually, because the story was in the first movie. It's like I'm willing to do the movie, but we gotta have that scene.
That's funny. That's funny.
It was a pretty meme-tastic movie anyway, the second one, so they might as well.
But the John Wicks here, I haven't seen them yet, just because I want to do like the weekend binge watch where I watch all three in a single like day, back to back to back.
Mm-hmm.
But the fact that it's like this man goes on a murdering rampage against bad guys because they killed his dog, like it's the most relatable thing ever, but also one of the more like by the scale of like, you know, movies, like, you know, Liam Neeson goes on a war page because somebody takes his daughter and took his wife, you know, like Bruce Willis goes on a rampage because there's terrorists in New York or in the building. Here's Keanu Reeves killing people because they killed his dog. Like the scale of it doesn't quite match per se, but it's also the most relatable of all that stuff.
It's way more relatable.
It still clicks.
People are like, if I wasn't a professional assassin and someone killed my dog, you bet I would.
Exactly.
And I knew these were evil people.
Yes. Yeah. Here's the thing, man. I want a John Wick 4, right? But somebody explains to him that his dog had to die because if his dog was going to, you know, end the world. I want something like that because I just want John Wick to be conflicted about every. It's just 2 hours of Keanu Reeves acting as he's conflicted of like, killed all those people who saved the world. They killed my dog.
Let me see.
Surely my dog.
There is going to be a John Wick 4. That's
is
exciting.
There? All right.
Yeah.
I got the script. Call me Hollywood. Call me Hollywood.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen? It's
just saying we have this on record now, right? So if they release the movie and that's the story.
Mm-hmm.
Then we can just sue them.
I'm suing the hell out of them. Little guy suing big guy. That's what we're doing. I put it out there. But yeah, no. The have you ever seen? I think it's called Always Be My Maybe. It was a Ali Wong and Randall Park. It was on Netflix. It's like a rom-com. Keanu Reeves is in it, but he plays like a parody of Keanu Reeves. So he's like. It's the Keanu Reeves that everybody knows, but to a parodied level, and it's fucking hilarious. I recommend that movie overall because it's a good movie, but I recommend it simply for him being in there because he's like, he gets into a fight with Randall Park's character, and the whole time he's like, does that make you feel better? Yeah! Hit me again! Hit me again! And he's like, oh, yeah! And he's like, it's like, what the hell is going on? This is like, spiritually, my chakras are aligned, yeah! And it's like, what the fuck? It's good stuff. It's good stuff. All right. So to wrap up, we saw a parking lot brawl. We talked about Greenland. We talked about Iceland. We talked about kids fighting over benches and trying to break windows because curiosity gets the better of us as children sometimes. What is your final takeaway from your appearance here on the Dork Side of the Ring? Inza, we'll start with you.
Define your question. Like my final takeaway.
Like final takeaway, like leaving. You stepped into the Dork Side of the Ring. The thing that you're gonna take, the number one thing that you're gonna be like, wow, I can't believe blank happened. You know, we talked about blank, or I learned blank.
Ooh. I mean, I learned that Philadelphian kids are absolutely insane.
Good call. That's a good thing to learn. Yes, it's good to know ahead of time. Momo, what about you?
Well, this is not really learning a new thing, but just reinforcing something I already kind of knew, and that's how much fun it is to talk to a loved one about something that they love and you know nothing about.
Yes, that's right.
It's wonderful.
It is good. It's one of my favorite things to do because I get to share my passion for pro wrestling with my friends. Some are wrestling fans, and two of you not, but you guys get to see this this experience of pro wrestling through my eyes and there's so much more to go into. I say it all the time, like I'm definitely bringing you guys back to show you more because you got a glimpse of some good stuff. There's a lot of just, I mean, like I said, I showed other people an Inferno match where the idea is to set your opponent on fire. There's buried alive matches, but there's also like segments like two characters having live sex in the middle of the ring. You know,
which one is this? for no reason.
For no reason. Or there's also matches where people wrestled on a farm. They start in a ring and they end up driving to a farm and fighting. Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
as you do.
Yeah, as one would do. Or there's a match where they start at the bottom of the WWE offices, and to win you have to climb to the very top of the offices, and along the way, two people get thrown off of a building.
Right. Yeah.
Exactly. Wrestling doesn't have parameters. It's just like role play. It is whatever it is.
Like,
oh, you
want to do it? Okay, sure. Yeah, Let's make it happen.
Yeah. But as we leave here, Momo, once more, tell the people, where they can find you, what you're working on, anything you would like to plug and bring awareness to.
Well, I've been MomoTheBard here on Dark Side of the Ring. Right now, I don't really have anything I would like to bring awareness to. So I'll bring awareness to you because you deserve to take care of yourself. You deserve to love yourself. And thank you for listening.
There you go. Hey, that's a great message. That's a good one. That's a good one. Self-love is one of the best loves. Hey, Inza, what about you? Tell people where they can find you, what you got working on, and anything you would like to bring awareness to.
All right. Well, I'm InzeNL. You can find me on pretty much any social media, but they're all as InzeNL other than Twitter, because Twitter will still never give me that account. You can also go to InzeNL.com. That's where the lister. That's InzeNL.com. Other than that, it's Black Lives Matter, LGBTQ rights matter, and everyone matters.
That's right. That's right. It's not enough to just be tolerant. You have to be anti-intolerance. That's what I always say at the end of all my streams. It is important that we stand up for those who need us to stand up for them. Thank you guys for coming on. It was a blast. I cannot wait to have you guys on again. It'll come in the future. It was I'm sure I'll have something lined up for each of you that is even better, because wrestling will always get better. I love you guys. Thanks for coming on.
Awesome.
Thanks. Love you.
Thank you, Inza. Thank you, Momo. Again, that's Inza, not Inz, or Inz. Definitely not Inza. I don't understand. Look, it is InzeNL. Those are like I don't understand why. I don't understand that. I don't. Anyways, that's my rant. We talked a little bit about it. It also bugs me when people call InzeNL. Like it's like I don't like it. Anyways, Inza, Momo, thank you so much for coming on. Appreciate it. It was a blast. Great friendships, good times, a lot of laughs. We probably talked for about another hour and a half or so off after the recording. One of my favorite things about the podcast is just the way with everything. I say this. I've said this before, but I've said this before. But like the frantic pace of the world and everything going on, it's hard. Sometimes you don't have the time or the bandwidth to check in with friends, and I mean I am a victim of that, or that happens to me. So like for me, I can dedicate 2 hours plus to talking with friends and hanging out and just laughing about pro wrestling, and then if hopefully we're lucky enough that no one has to go anywhere directly after, and we can all talk and bullshit and whatnot. And it's good times, and catch up, especially longtime friends like Inza and Momo. With me, it's good times. Next week, myself, Jim Jam, and that Duff Guy Pat. We're going to be talking about the Battle of the Billionaires. It is literally the longest single topic that I've ever recorded to show, and I wanted to make sure that we got at least an hour and a half of content. And god damn it, I'm telling you this right now. Next week's episode is the most chaotic first half of an episode I've ever recorded. All right, we are all over the goddamn place. We got I think it's literally the longest preamble before I intro things, and then there's a butchering of it. I think it's just wild. Okay, I need you to understand. This has been a plan for damn near over a year of talking about this topic with Jim Jam, with Pat. It's a fun time. I'm so happy we got it out. It's a good time. It is a blast of it's a wild topic. It is a future president being involved in WrestleMania, and just the layers of that goes into that, and some fun stories. But we're all over. We end up talking about Tumblr for a full 5 to 10 minutes. I ain't never been on Tumblr. It's wild. But that's what you can expect when you get the good pals, Duff Guy Pat and Jim Jam, on to talk about. A bird just landed on my driver's side mirror, and they're gone. Sorry, I was going to try to take a photo of it. Anyways, look, that's what you get here on the Dork Side of the Ring. That's what next week's episode is. Support us. Continue to support us for absolute free by going to Dork Side of the Ring on Twitter and Instagram. Following us there. Following me at I am Grum on Twitter and on Instagram. Go to grum.tv. Join the greater Grumunity. That's right, the greater Grumunity, the Discord, where all we are. We all sit there and we all talk. We all have a good time. We watch wrestling there. And I think I'm going to also start doing a weekly watch along, at minimum 1 or 2 episodes of Lucha Underground, because I fucking love Lucha Underground and it's so goddamn good. So that'll be a fun thing to do. Also, support.grum.tv. Oh, wait, before we get to the monetary things, you can continue to support us for free by rating and reviewing us on Spotify and on Apple. 5-star review on Apple Podcasts. You just go to the Apple Podcast store. You go to the Dork Side of the Ring where you get this. Or perhaps you don't because you don't use Apple. Leave a 5-star rating. Leave a review. Helps us grow. Same on Spotify. If you listen a couple times, you put the little 5-star next to it, and you're good. We're all good. Help us grow that way. If you want to take your support to the next level for as low as $1, support.grum.tv. You can become a patron and help us just contribute to the podcast and the content that I make over here. When I say it's a community effort, and I appreciate that. So that's all the plugs I got. Next week, episode 57. I'm saying it now so that I can remember it myself. Jim Jam and that Duff Guy Pat talking about the Battle of the Billionaires from WrestleMania 23. It's a doozy of an episode. Do not miss it, because we don't take wrestling seriously, and we damn sure didn't take anything serious on that episode, because wrestling is at its absolute best when no one is taking it seriously. I am Grum. Thank you so much. I'll see you guys here next week on the Dork Side of the Ring podcast.